My name is James Donaldson. I was a former professional basketball player, small business owner, and now I'm a published author and professional speaker. On January 3rd, 2015, I became what I thought I would never ever become, a heart patient. This is my story. I didn't come from a very athletic family. My parents stressed education and hard work, getting your chores done. And so I didn't get started with basketball until 17 years old as a junior in high school. It was the first time I actually picked up a basketball and started to try to figure out this game. From Sacramento, I was recruited to go up to Washington State University by a wonderful man who's still a wonderful person in my life, Coach George Raveling. So that's how I went to WSU, and from there I was drafted by the Seattle Supersonics in 1979, the year they won their one and only NBA World Championship. All through my NBA years, and even beginning in high school when I started getting into sports, I was always very health conscious, taking all my vitamins, all my supplements, exercising every day, doing all those things. And then after those years, I was still in the gym 6 days a week, working out, training, all the way up until my unfortunate heart experience when I was 57 years old. I'll never forget this day, January 3rd, 2015. Here I am, still in excellent shape, 57 years of age. I'm out trying to play around the golf with my friends, and I just felt horrible. My back was killing me. I felt nauseous. I'm sweating profusely for no reason. We haven't even teed off yet. And I just told the guys, I said, hey, I don't feel really well today, so I think I'm gonna go and see my doctor. And so I made the drive over to the doctor's office, about 15 minutes or so. And I remember getting to the doctor's office and vaguely remember seeing the reception counter in his office. And then from there, everything just went black. They tell me I fell out right there in the lobby of the office, and they did a quick diagnostic scan on me and determined that it was my heart and my aorta that needed emergency treatment. And they threw me in the ambulance over to Swedish Hospital on Cherry Hill. And I woke up 2 weeks later, and I don't remember a thing about it.
We met Mr. Donaldson in the emergency room after he experienced a sudden event on the golf course earlier that day. He was transferred from one of our satellite emergency rooms. We knew that the extent of the injury in his aorta was severe, that he had ruptured his aorta from the base of the heart all the way through the arch, and including all the vessels that were going down to his feet. So he was in a very critical condition.
Well, James presented with an acute aortic dissection, which is a vascular emergency, life-threatening problem. He needed emergency surgery at that time that was carried out by Dr. Youssef, and then needed subsequent operations to have further treatment for his tear in the aorta. It was immediate life-threatening condition. Without emergency surgery, James would not have survived.
Mr. Donaldson underwent about an 11-hour operation. In order to fix the aorta in its entirety, from the base of the heart, including his aortic valve, to the ascending component, to the arch, which gives supply to all the brain, and then to the descending component, which gives the blood to the body, we have to use a procedure called circulatory arrest, where essentially we cool the body down to 18 degrees centigrade. That protects the metabolic function of the brain and the metabolic function of the body. Once we've protected the body, we can then perfuse the brain selectively and then reconstruct the entire vascular tree, starting from the root all the way to the arch, and then give us a landing spot to be able to do the second stage of the operation at a subsequent date.
Well, when I finally came to a couple weeks after surgery, it was still another week or two before I could regain my senses. Of course, I was heavily medicated to manage the pain and all those other things. I was hooked up to wires and cables and things to keep keep me in place and make sure they monitored everything about me. I didn't really realize that I was in Seattle. I woke up thinking I was in a hospital in Sacramento, California, just down the road from where my dad lives. And I kept wanting to go see him. It took me another couple weeks to finally regain my senses and realize that I was in Swedish Hospital on Cherry Hill in Seattle, and that something very, very tragic had happened to me.
During his recovery, Mr. Donaldson needed a lot of support from physical therapy, occupational therapy, nurses, cognitive rehabilitation. Once he came to, and he was strong enough to do it, his determination, his will, his ability to keep everybody on track as if it was, NBA practice, that was a significant factor as part of his recovery and also the encouragement for our team. And because he was with us for so long, we had this unique relationship where it was, all right, you've survived your operation, now what? You've gone through the recovery period and you're going through it now. Let's get you back on your feet. And that takes a lot of interaction and a lot of personal face-to-face time. But James was special. I could tell that he had in his mind to recover and to take every opportunity to get better. Never did he doubt himself. Never did he say, oh, I'm tired. It was always, all right, let's go. And that was the attitude that prevailed during his hospitalization.
Well, I had an outstanding care team of doctors and nurses who cared for me during those 2.5 months I was in intensive care. I tried to be the best patient I could be. I always teased the nurses that, hey, I'm your best patient. I'm the least of your worries. You got a lot of other people on this floor that need you. I think, that's what you need. You need to have a team of people around you who really care about you, who you are willing to listen to and be directed by in order to get through these very, very difficult situations. Well, after my initial surgery in 2015, I ended up with 4 major surgeries in 5 years. And that really began the mental decline into the depression and anxiety that I suffered. The next year, my mother passed away. My wife walked out on our marriage and took her son with her. My business faltered and eventually closed. I exhausted all of my life savings trying to save my business. 2018 was the culmination of all of that, and that was the darkest period for those 12 months, trying to make it through. And that's when I reached out for help to my family doctor, and he diagnosed me with depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideations. And he was the one who really brought it to my attention that I was suffering from these things. I didn't know I was having such an issue with this until I couldn't sleep through the night anymore. I'd wake up after a couple hours of sleep and I'd still be awake the rest of the night and into the morning and crashing and burning. So I finally reached out to him and got the help that I needed.
Mental health is important, not just in realizing what we've been through, but to realize where we're going. And the trauma that Mr. Donaldson experienced had a reverberating effect on his life. It affected not just his surgery and his recovery, affected his business, affected his family relationships, affected his stature, his status, his understanding of the way that the world was. All this changed in a matter of minutes. And so we as a community must address mental health in our patients to understand them better and to equip them better for their recovery, however that requires. And it starts with one, every individual we interact with.
This is the next journey for me, being that voice and that advocate for mental health awareness and suicide prevention. Really trying to destigmatize what mental health issues and challenges are all about. It's one of those things that we still don't like to talk about, especially communities of color. And I'm trying to make sure that people are feeling more comfortable talking about these issues, feeling more comfortable reaching out for the resources and for the help that's readily available for each and every one of us. I made it through this, and you can make it through too. My care team at Providence meant everything to me, especially Dr. Youssef, Dr. Hayes, the nursing staff. They were just wonderful, and we all worked together as a team. And I think that's really what you need to pull through these very adverse situations sometimes. People who care about you, people that you're willing to listen to and take direction from. And that care team at Providence, I think, is world-class. And I've stayed in touch with most of them throughout, letting them know how I'm doing and checking in on them from time to time as well.
We have the pleasure and the privilege of an immediate fix most of the time. A valve is dysfunctional, fix it, the heart works again. Aorta is torn, fix it, things can get better. So we have the ability to dramatically impact patients' lives with a technical maneuver. But that's only part of it. The ability to meet people, to interact with them, to see them progress from a state of sickness to a state of health, and then reassimilate in their community. That's what inspires us to come to work every day. It's not work, it's service. It's an ability to take care of our community. And it just happens that I'm a plumber, and that's what I do. And how to be able to fix things, that's what is the greatest privilege for us to do. For James, he touched our lives, all of us. He was able to inspire us to be motivated, to never be discouraged, but he was humble enough to share his own frailties, his own doubts. And that honesty that he shared with us is what I think made a lot of us really think again about what we do every day. His honesty is what touched me the most.